Ooh, the saga continues. Continues. I'm the same me, in and out of any venue. Uh, the stats warn. I'ma put on no matter the platform. Family, good to see you. What's over there, Asha? Hopefully I said it right, or is it Asia? Correct me. I'm not above reproach. But the conversation we gonna have today, the conversation we gonna have today, the conversation I'm having with myself and like-minded individuals is how you treat yourself. Mm-mm. How you treat yourself. I'm saying a lot about how you treat everybody else. So I'm gonna need you to focus in. You feel me? Focus in and get right with self. I appreciate you stopping in, love. Focus in and get right with self. Let me make sure my sound, cause I know I gotta turn this. What's the name off? Hold on. Name off. Hold on. Forgetting that. Be forgetting that. Had to turn the headphone off, cause the headphone be low. Then make it where y'all can't really hear me. But how you treat yourself is the conversation today that we have. Feel me? How you treat yourself automatically reflects on how you treat everybody else. And you might say, man, I treat myself good, or I don't play myself down, you know. I'm always there for myself. But if you always there for yourself only in the sense of you feel like, what's up with a Belazian? You feel like I gotta do for myself, well, I ain't gonna have. Meaning you moving from a state of lack. What's up with it, Judo? If y'all could, if you would, tap that screen for me. If ever my voice or sound go out, please let me know. Put a 2 in the chat or say we can't hear you. You feel me? But if you only doing for yourself from a state of lack or fear of lacking, right? So you like, I gotta do for me, because if I don't, I ain't gonna have, you know. Like I said, it would directly reflect on how you treat everybody else. You will not be there for others, even when you could be. You know what I mean? It ain't hard to recognize if you could be there for somebody. If you notice that somebody needs a little bit of attention, because right now, you know, they might be having a hard time putting themselves together. They might have done gave out all their attention to other people. Just making a simple example, right? That we can expound on no matter what the subject matter may be. But you can tell what other people need because you done been in a place of need. What's up with it, Mirror? You can tell what other people need because you done been in a place of need. So if you seek to, you know, provide that energy that you provide for yourself, for others, peace, love, for others, then, you know what I'm saying, you'll find yourself in a state of not doing things only for yourself because you feel like there's a lack out here, meaning like other people lack that same empathy. Appreciate the likes, Quinn. Other people lack that same empathy, so you feel like, man, if I don't do for myself, ain't nobody else gonna do it. But if you only doing for yourself because ain't nobody else gonna do it, I had a good friend of mine say, man, look, I don't gotta dislike nobody. He said it differently, but I don't think we can still use that word. But I don't gotta dislike nobody in order to love myself. I'm gonna say that again. I don't gotta dislike nobody in order to love myself. We see it too often, and I was guilty of it. And when I'm in my right mind, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not posting things and saying like, you know what? Shit, I know I got haters, but oh well, I love me. You know what I'm saying? Stop acknowledging the things that you really don't want to see. You know what I mean? We already know it come with it. Like, as sure as you're bettering yourself, as sure as you exist, there are going to be people that, you know, for whatever reason or another, you know what I'm saying, that's going to not appreciate your presence. We'll just put it that way. What's up with a kid that don't appreciate your presence? If y'all could, please like the live, share the live, let them know the golden ones have arrived. And for those who also may feel like right now, you feel me, I don't really like how I've been taking time away from doing things on my purpose. Because I've been feeling this way before, as well as I have to remind myself now, appreciate you sharing the live, that we don't necessarily waste time. You feel me? Everything that we go through, the time that we spend away from, let's say you make music or something, you feel me, or you do art, the time that you spend away from your creative phase of doing that, you're cultivating the energy that's going to be necessary going into that next phase. The energy that's going to be necessary in order for you to create new pieces that connect with other people. Like I said, when it comes to being able to recognize when others are in need, it comes from being able to recognize the times when you yourself was in need. You knew what type of things you needed. You know what I'm saying? You knew what efforts that you was like, darn, if somebody would just, you know, say I see you, whatever form or fashion, it'll give me that passion or desire to go on and make me feel like my efforts are not going in vain. You know? That's all. It don't take much, you know. Sometimes we over exaggerate. You know, sometimes we might over exaggerate. And I think a lot of times that over exaggeration or the over talking or, you know what I mean, trying to be seen is because a lot of us, you know, we never really felt seen. We never really felt appreciated. So, hey, when it comes to putting on, we put on the hardest. You know what I'm saying? We put on the hardest exterior. We put on the most because we felt like the only way we're going to be seen is if we do the most. I'm reminded, man, some of the conversations I used to overhear from some of my brothers and sisters that used to be coming home. People would say, man, look, stop running around out here like you trying to make up for lost time. And I say, you never lost that time. You feel me? Everything you've been going through up until now has been cultivating you. Even if you look back and you say, look, I don't like how I responded to XYZ, guess what? You got something to look back and say, I don't like how I responded to XYZ. So now that gives you something to go off of. But if you didn't have no experience, you feel me? You don't have nothing to grow from. You don't have nothing to expound on. So be grateful. That's a start, you know. Be grateful for your experiences. Be thankful that you're able to experience things. I remember recognizing at certain points, man, I would not even realizing it at first, you know. But now I look back, and other times when I first look back to recognize this, I was like, man, I was complaining about feeling life. You know, my back hurt. It's cold outside. My nose running. You know, if I start just going down the list of the things that I just named, a lot of these things come with life. You know, your nose running is a sign of, you know, if I had to explain it myself, a lot of times the body forms certain fluids in order to protect itself. You know what I'm saying? It insulates itself. What's up with it? Big Flirt in the building. In order to insulate itself. It's cold outside. Well, that's a sign that you can actually still feel sensation on your skin. You feel me? Appreciate them lights, Chuck. Man, I'm grateful, my G. Appreciate that follow. My back hurt. That's a sign that you probably been working a muscle that ain't been worked. You know what I'm saying? Or overworking a muscle. So that's a signature or a signal to, you give yourself some rest. Or it's a sign that you ain't been, you've been lethargic. Sometimes you can lay down too long. I always tell myself, like, man, you feel pain, but is that pain a result of work you put in? What's up with it, Jenny? We got 5 beautiful people up in here. If you would, tap that screen like you trying to knock on wood, drop a comment, share the live, look alive. That's what we do when we alive. We interact, with life. But I always ask myself, look, do you want to feel pain by way of being lethargic, meaning inactive, not moving, not mobile? Or do you want to feel pain from the efforts that you put in to move around, to make efforts, to better your situation, take action? Case in point, right now, I'm out here in the cold. I said, shit, I'm finna go out here and go work out. I'm finna go out here in the cold. At the same time, part of my workout is working out the mental battles that we all face. A lot of times we don't realize that the thoughts that come through our head, a lot of times some of them are intrusive thoughts. Some of them are thoughts that's a result of certain things that you looked at, you allow for yourself to indulge in. Some of them are thoughts that you simply cultivated. Now, all of these thoughts, you can put them all into one, each way that I described it. But know that as sure as you're able to notice that a lot of these thoughts ain't necessarily what you decided, it gives you an opportunity to decide. Like, damn. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, I done had some crazy thoughts come across my head, and I had to say, man, that ain't me. That ain't what I want to be doing. That ain't my idea. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what I'm into. But you gotta realize, in order to take back your life, use your real eyes to see when things are not becoming of the journey or the purpose that you are choosing to be on. I choose, they used to overcomplicate that thing to me because, I wouldn't even say that. Let me take that back, because people, we saying what makes sense, right? We say what makes sense, but it used to seem complicated to me when people say you got to find your purpose. You feel me? Man, rise and shine, my G. Find your purpose, right? So, like, for instance, for those that's listening to me right now, when you recognize that somebody is speaking a word that's going to be beneficial or influential in your growth, it's good to, as you see my good sister and Poise doing down there, tap the screen, interact with that. Oftentimes we interact with things that aren't going to be becoming of us or not in our best interest going forward. Appreciate that love, and we be surprised when things don't go in ways that's in our best interest. And a lot of times we just be confused. Good to see you, Divine. At a certain point of confusion, after so long, it can turn into anger. I said all that to say that I realized that my purpose is to choose whether I want to complain or just be grateful for all the things that have came into my life. I noticed when I complain, I found different reasons to complain, right? And when I chose to be grateful, I found different reasons to be grateful, meaning I learned from different things that came into my life. Whereas, I learned, from complaining that, hey, whatever I desire, by way of what I give my attention to, whether it's being the one that's doing the complaining, that's what my subconscious gonna give way to more and more experiences that affirm or validate that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that's right. Our reactions create our reality to the point that I ain't saying it's another thing. I learned to surrender, y'all, to the flow of life. There's many people that done came in my life, and I just wish I could have held on to them. You know what I mean? Just like a lot of us, when we have good experiences, whether it was just in the beginning or it continued until abruptly ending, you feel me? We just wish we could have held on to those situations, but I'm learning to surrender to life's changes and surrender what I thought it was gonna look like. You know, a lot of times we got our ideas of how we want it to go. I'm gonna graduate high school, I'm gonna get into this field, and I'm gonna make so much money, and I'm gonna get this house with the white picket fence, and we just gonna be happily ever after, you know. And a lot of times life do not pan out that way. We go through the ups and downs, the rigmarole, as my granny would say, the chaos. And again, chaos, you know, is the appearance of things from a place of lacking understanding. You know, when you understand the ways of change, you recognize a lot of times when things are changing, you on the face of it, you're not going to understand. But understanding comes from seeking. So you got to choose to seek to understand. But for a lot of us, we want to, you know, deal in our familiar space, you know, because those are the things that we understand on the face. So in order for us to say something is good or bad, it has to operate from that familiar space for us. Otherwise, we deem it as something that's not good. I appreciate y'all being in here. If you would, tap them screens, interact, look alive, show action. I'm reminded of a conversation I was having with somebody that's dear to me, right? And, you know, they're going through some things that are affecting them adversely, physically, right? And in turn, causing them to respond from a spirit of what I would say is not them. You know what I'm saying? But it's their survival mode. It's their will to keep going, right? Come on now, surface. I like how you interacting. Yeah. Feel free to drop comments. From time to time I do look. So here it is. There's things that they are used to eating, right? Let's use this for an example. There's things that they're used to eating. So here it is now when, what's up with that, Asia? I informed them because of the discomfort that they're feeling, right? There is a good chance that the things that you're avoiding eating, and for some of us, the situations that we're avoiding going into, oh man, on the other side of that discomfort, on the other side of that unfamiliar space, what's up with it, Coy, is all the things that we desire. As that which we desire, for a lack of a better phrase, desires us as well. It's just, with it being such a difference in what we've been used to up until now, the way to it, that destination is unfamiliar and at times uncomfortable. Because I never seen this place. I never seen these buildings. I never been on this street. I never felt this way. And so everything in me wants to turn around. Even though I'm seeing progress, I lost this person along the way. And I just wish I could have held on to that person versus where I'm headed. Not realizing that everything you've been going through is preparation. Man, right? Don't go chasing waterfalls. Okay, so you in the building. Okay. We at the same destination together. Okay. Or we headed somewhere. You feel me? But that uncomfortability makes you want to turn around. I'm reminded of phrases that I tell myself all the time. If pain is going to stop you from going where you say you headed, then you're going to always be stopping. Kind of like, you know, when you get the kids in the car, you know what I'm saying, and y'all go on a trip, and you done filled these kids full of liquid. Some of us done filled ourselves with liquid that isn't full of nourishment, meaning it doesn't have any destinations within the body. It doesn't feed or nourish you in such a way to the point that it can sustain a trip or going the distance. So immediately up on you putting it in you, oh, it's just coming right out. It's just running right through you. And just because that relationship was familiar, man, there's some beautiful people. I feel y'all energy, and I'm, man. Just the sidebar real quick. We're gonna take a pee stop for those who do gotta pee. You know what I'm saying? I know sometimes when people say they can feel y'all energy, I can't speak for others, but sincerity is my credentials, right? As a kid, I would often pay attention to how my mother would sit the keys down when she come in the door. The thrust in which she opened the door. The way in which she walked when she came in the door. The first words that she uttered. The look up on her face. So much so that, you know, I love to read. And I'm not just talking about books. I love to write. And I'm not just talking about on paper. So if I may pour that into your spirit and remind you that it's some amazing, beautiful souls in the building that could reflect the spirit of that at any time, but it's your choice. So again, some of us have poured things into ourselves and into others. We've allowed for others to cause us to act ugly. Or at least that's the excuse we was willing to give ourselves, because self-accountability, meaning taking account for what I could have did or should have did or would have liked to have done, or taking accountability for me not paying attention to how I was feeling in the moment, led to me acting in a way that I wouldn't want nobody to act towards me, nor would I want to suffer the consequence of said action. This must be meant to go out. And I know it's meant for me to work out, because I said, I'm finna go work out in the cold. And some people think working out is just simply, let's go out there and do these exercises. But there is a mentality, there's a psychology that we must often work out within ourselves. That if we don't work out these things within ourselves, the efforts that we take, will be sabotaged by the lack of efforts that we, you know, put within the time that we spend or could have spent with ourselves. You feel me? So for those who may feel like, man, darn, I keep on getting these pit stops, or hey man, I lost this job and now I gotta sit here and sit with myself and figure out what I'm gonna do next and how I'm gonna go about it. Sometimes, all right, let's get in the space. See, it's telling me to be still. As I was just about to tell you, sometimes things happen in life just for you to be still long enough to allow for things to work themselves out. You've done the work. You know, I was telling myself, like, man, I want to experience myself in a consistent manner, doing things in the mundane, right? To show myself work ethic. And when I had done that, it's like I just got so familiar with doing it, I ain't want to stop. Just a question. Are you happy or are you depressed? Honestly speaking, love, I'm indifferent at the moment. You feel me? Because I can't say that I'm all the way happy. You know what I'm saying? But I do have a joy. Oh, I definitely got a lot of depth to me. You hear me? I definitely have a lot of depth to me. And like I said, with the many losses or appearances of loss, people who have went on before me, that I was used to their presence. Let me get somewhere where we can, you know what I'm talking about? We can sit down and have a talk. He said, not modest. I might be a little modest in the sense of I don't think more of myself than others, right? And I'm working on thinking more about myself just as much as I think of people that I love, you know? That's the main point of this conversation. Learning to treat yourself as you would treat, you know, the most precious person in your life. Learning to cater to yourself in such a way. Because I notice, like, when I love, I notice every little tick. I notice the discomfort. And, you know, me being a man, I'm going to speak from the standpoint of, you know, I love attentively. You know, my lover could, you know, scratch her head and I'm like, let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me get off in there for you. You know what I'm talking about? Let me get all the way up and let me get the future itches. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on that as soon as she reach, you know. But I also have to remind myself, you know, sometimes even this type of attentiveness can be a little overbearing for somebody who is not used to that. So you have to kind of spoon feed or allow for others to adjust to your presence and your consistency. So, you know, just be consistent with it. You know what I mean? As well as consistently leave room for it to marinate. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm definitely watching while you sleep. I'm watching over you, you know. And I've often had conversations with lovers or whatnot where the things that I was once appreciated for, what's up with it, Cherry, eventually turns into, no, I get it. And I feel like in order for it to go to that ladder, you know what I'm saying, you have to get to know that person. You know what I mean? If that person has no history, what's up with it? I'm the door in this motherfucker. Yes, sir. In order for it to get to the point of creepiness, right, you have to recognize the creepiness in a person, right? You know, they have to have done some things because I don't typically like to put a bag on a person, you know what I'm saying, or a lifestyle on a person, so to speak, because once you start thinking negatively of a person, it's kind of hard to unsee that. So I prefer not to, you know what I'm saying, go to that negative standpoint. Because, like, let me use it like this. Let's say you have a person that's attentive or protective, right? Somebody who's only experienced with that was somebody being messy with the things that they find out would automatically go to the standpoint of you're nosy. You feel me? What's up with it, Case? Whereas somebody who has had people step in right at the moment they needed somebody to protect them, maybe even from their own thoughts. What's up with it, Cherry? You recognize that protectiveness, you know, and a part of protectiveness is provision. When I hear provision, I automatically go to knowing what you're looking at. Right, nobody want to be deceived, period, but a lot of times we deceive ourselves. Because rather than allow, something I was writing down today, rather than allow for things to play out, we automatically assume. Remember earlier we was talking about, in order to have understanding, we must seek understanding. I mean, don't be quick to rush to judgment just based on our experiences, and, you know, write folks off in such a manner to where it's like, I already know what you're doing. Yeah, we do that. We see what we want to see based on our familiarity. And don't get me wrong, a lot of times that's in order for us to keep moving forward. But the beauty of life, I heard the character that Jamie Foxx played, what is that movie? What is his name? Maybe y'all will know when I said. He said Jamie Foxx was, you know, practicing with him to get to know things about him and to try to emulate this man, right? And Jamie just went in there and started going down the keys, you feel me? And the man was like, why did you do that, basically? You know what I'm saying? Jamie was like, I'm just warming up, or I'm trying to get to a key. He was like, the beauty of life, I'm paraphrasing, is being able to stop and make sure to hit the right note. Being able to pause and take time to hit the right note. Whether you know it or not, if you do not take time to pause in this life, right, you can leave out of this world on the wrong note, and it'll cause you an eternity. Yes, Ray Charles. But once you know the person, know the person, you find you really deceive yourself. I mean, yeah, it can be that way. Because it's still, like you said, taking accountability for your part. You know what I mean? A lot of times we put it solely on the other person, and I feel like at that point we missed the opportunity to recognize the power that we have in that situation, taking back our power. And I like I said, I've learned what that whole trust conversation was about with my people. When they say trust nobody, right? A lot of times in that trust conversation, we trust what a person has shown us that we wanted to see, right? Well, you know what I'm saying? Not even, okay, let's not say trust what a person has shown us. We trust what we wanted to see to be the person, rather than allowing for a person to be free to be themselves. We're ever changing. So learn to appreciate the changes. You know what I'm saying? Like, to truly love somebody is to witness them and not turn away. And oftentimes we turn away because we can't wait to pass judgment. And if you be real with yourself, a lot of times we do this because this is what we do to ourselves. This is what we do to ourselves. And I know, like, even though for a lot of us it may seem like you're in a relationship that it seems like it's not going the direction in which you think it should be going. Even your relationship with yourself, you feel like, man, like, what's the point of me being here type shit? But again, as I said earlier, allow for yourself to witness certain things and not turn away. Allow for yourself to go through these changes and feel everything that's necessary, but don't get so caught up in what you feeling that you don't pause to hit the right note. So often we so caught up in what we feeling to the point we just run with what we feeling instead of, like, okay, say for instance, you hot, right? You hot. And we talking temperature wise, right? You don't notice that. Only thing you notice is you're feeling sick. You know what I'm saying? But once you get to the point you take your temperature, you recognize I need to cool off. Okay. Let's say again, you hot-headed, you upset. If you're present enough in the moment, you will notice that you're upset. Emotional intelligence suggests that I shouldn't respond or act from the place of being upset or off balance, because I'm not going to make a clear decision. Even if I need to protect myself in this moment, you know what I'm saying? I'm upset because now this person has put me in a volatile situation, or I've put myself in a volatile situation. I cannot be so upset with myself that I do not pause within myself. The world might not ever know that you're pausing. You might be still steadily physically moving, but you're pausing enough within your thought process enough to, hey, allow for the next action or the next proper thought process to come into being. I'm reminded of the times when I would be playing sports and my adrenaline would get so high. I'm steady moving, but there's a pause taking place within me to the point everything is slowing down. And as I take steps in the outer, the physical, because we exist in multiple dimensions, you feel me? As I'm taking steps in the outer, the pause that's taking place or the slowdown that's taking place within my thought processing is allowing for me to make the next best move. To the point I could tell when other people weren't in that zone, wasn't in that surrendering point to the flow of what's going on, to the point that they wasn't able to experience that. They wasn't able to experience that. To the point I even use that nowadays. I find myself, I hurt my own feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought what mattered to me would matter to somebody else. And I have to pause before I respond a lot of times. Because now this person has taken that as a disrespect, or this person has taken it as you're trying to control me. And it's like, darn, that wasn't my intent. But I have to pause within myself to see how they could have came off that way. I have to pause within myself to see, hold on, this person was already a little off, but I wasn't reading them before I started to pour things into them that wasn't of nourishment in the moment of what they needed, the destination they was headed to. Life is beautiful when you pay attention to the rise, the falls, the curves, the sharp turns, the sharp points. Some shit is so direct. Some shit, it takes a minute to build, That's a beautiful finch. When you learn to appreciate the process of life, you can look at all the things of life and say, that's beautiful. When you know what it took for it to get here, when you know the life expectancy of it, when you know what it means in your position in life. Finches represent prosperity. Prosperity taps into the abundance of life. Life has an abundance of diversity to offer. What's up with the bubbles? Has an diversity of what's up with it, moon? Experiences to offer. But when you want to just stay in your familiar space, those changes in scenery, those changes of people in your life, those changes of yourself, you don't welcome them. You don't welcome them. I noticed within me, there was a point of me being of service to a loved one, right? And that's usually like a certain reciprocation that as young men we expect or we're used to getting, right? And when I didn't receive that this time around, uh, that I'm recognizing at this point that I'm sharing with you guys, I was able to give thanks that I wasn't doing this act of service in order to receive. I was doing this act of service just to be of service. And noticing that I was able to help somebody, noticing that I was able to utilize the pains that I've understood of life to be able to touch somebody's pain points without them having to ask, to witness them in such a way, and then to later hear them fall asleep. You know, it used to be a point, you'd be like, man, I know you ain't just fall asleep on me. Like, no, you did not. I got you relaxed. We supposed to, you know what I'm saying, take it to the max. The max of stimulation. But I'm learning to allow for things to come to me. And even while they're coming to me, because I know it's just part of the process of life, you feel me? I'm learning to appreciate the pause. Even the pauses in between my speech. The pauses in between the words that I say. I've learned that it allows for the message to take hold as well as for me to retain the downloads that I am receiving. The downloads that I am allowing to proceed out of me from what I've experienced. I'm grateful for my new understanding of love. I used to be frustrated to not even be able to express it. Like, you know, to be so close to family members and not be able to reach out in the ways that I seek to reach out, you know? To be back in a city that in this lifetime I was, you know, I was donned in, you feel me? And to experience the constant changes going back to life's abundance and abundance representing diversity. You know, you can look at going with the negative and the positive we was talking about earlier. So if you still in here, you can look at diversity as if adversity, meaning only pay attention to the adverse effects. Or you can look at the diversity of life and say, you know what, I'm grateful that I'm able to experience these changes. Because guess what? Growth is a part of change too. And though this may be unfamiliar to me, I know that I'm still experiencing growth. Because based on me pausing to pay attention to my experiences, to witness my experiences, I'm going to grow from it. I'm going to grow from it. For this, I take joy. So when you ask, am I happy or depressed? I'm even reminded that, you know, a lot of times depression comes from holding on to the past too much. Fear comes from worrying too much about the future. But if I remain present long enough, I can appreciate the gift that it is. And that's where I'm at with it. I don't put too much stock into happiness because a lot of times our happiness comes from things that are fleeting, things that are going to change. So again, even if we turn around and get sad, we did that to ourselves because that's what we put stock in. Now granted, peace on this realm is possibly something that you could find balance to receive. You can find peace on one end of the balance, and you can find whatever its opposite may be, to the point that you can appreciate peace. And I would love for you to get to a point that you appreciate chaos. The changes that are taking place without your full understanding of why. Or full understanding of how, full understanding of where it's going, but just knowing it's leading somewhere. It is leading somewhere. And knowing me, like a cat, I'm gonna learn to land on my feet. And even if I land on my back, I'm going to heal from that, even stronger than I was before that happened. But if I let pain stop me from doing a thing, will I even do anything? Will I even do anything? What is the point? Pain come with it. Pain come with it. If I sit still, I eventually experience pain from being lethargic, not doing nothing. If I move, I will experience pain from the exertion of my muscles. So if I find the balance, you know what I'm saying, I can recover. And my main thing being lately is the recovery time. It used to take me so long to get over myself. Appreciate you tapping the screen, Cherry. If y'all could, if you would, tap the screen. Let's get the likes up. It used to take me so long to get over my anger, get over my feelings. To the point, I'm grateful to recognize that I'm able to recover a lot faster than I used to. I'm able to recognize, allow for myself to sorry about that. I'm able to allow for myself to experience what I must and draw from it what I need to. And appreciate that. Trying to get this guava juice as I've been on a subsequent breaking my way into a fast. You guys. I need to sit you down for a second so I can wipe off this top. But yeah. Took me a little minute today in the store to find something that would be palatable for the fast that I'm on. As everything had it, added sugars and all that, I just wanted 100% juice. No sugar, no concentrate, none of that. Just give me the juice so I can be on the loose. But if y'all don't remember anything else from this conversation, start loving on yourself like you want to love on somebody else. Start loving on yourself like you wish somebody else would love you. Start focusing on yourself as much as you focus on others. This will allow, as Divine Will was eloquently pointing out, this will allow for you to manifest the reality that you desire, as it desires you, but you lose focus somewhere along the line to focus on everything and anything else other than you. Man, that garbage juice hitting. Practice gratefulness. And everything that you deal with, everything that you face with will become something that you're just grateful for. Life is so much better that way. I promise you. I promise you. Once you achieve that gratefulness, come back and holler at me. My bad. Practice gratefulness and Lord, here we go with this signal thing. I gotta move around. Practice gratefulness. And once you get to that point of gratefulness, come back and holler at me. Let me know how much you like the state of gratefulness more than, you know what I'm saying, complaining. Promise you, you'll get to a point that everything that happened to you, you eventually will find something to be grateful for. Just like if you was looking for the color, let's say right now, let's do a quick little practice. Let's say you looking for the color green in my background, right? Looking, see how the colors are green? All right. Now, blink your eyes. Look at this background and see on how naturally your eyes just get drawn into all the colors of green. So basically meaning whatever you put your focus on or choose to focus on, you will naturally just be drawn to that. So intentionally tell yourself, let's just be drawn to things to be grateful for. Let's just be drawn to things to be grateful for. Just saying though. Something telling me to open it up. What's up with it, Intuitive? Kind of want to open it up, see if anybody want to impart some of their experiences. Man, I'm grateful to live long enough to actually have some wisdom to impart. You feel me? Anything that our download session has allowed for them to interpret, as well as I do have somebody that I would love for y'all to get to know her as well as her content. But if y'all do want like button or whatnot, peace, God, peace. Can you hear me? Divine.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Peace. Why would you put me on the spot like that?
I wanted them to see your page for one.
Okay.
So
Appreciate the
everybody,
love.
yeah, for sure. Everybody that can see this queen, make sure y'all send her an invite or a follow request. I definitely be checking out her content. She be doing a lot of reflecting. You know what I'm saying? And I be getting a lot from that. And I do have a lot of sisters that come through, so I definitely want y'all to, build with each other, get some positive experiences. But you was also dropping some gems while I was talking, so if you wanted to expound, I definitely wanted to open the floor.
Yeah, I was just expounding on what you were saying. Like once you give yourself that self love, once you everything that we're used to outsourcing to other people for validation, once we start pouring into ourselves, it's like we become super magnetic, and everything that we want for ourselves just easily starts aligning, just like with that exercise you just showed us. Like we've all noticed that you go get a new car, you've never seen that car before, but now you're seeing that car everywhere because that's where your
Man,
focus goes, your energy flows. So when you
yep.
start pouring into yourself, and giving yourself the love you desire, and making sure that you create yourself and the reality that you want for yourself, it's almost effortless. Like,
Yeah. It can be uncomfortable in the beginning, but
very uncomfortable.
once you get on that other side, it be like, man, what was I doing all this time? It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of humbling. You know how people be like, you go through that humbling experience where it's like, why did I ever doubt? You know what I'm saying? So I be giving that experience all the time, like on the face of different adverse things or unfamiliar things that I'm going through. Once I get on the other side of it, after I done chose to just be grateful in the midst of it, I get on the other side and be like, why did I even think this was a problem?
Right. And so I always say gratitude is the attitude. And I know a lot of
Come
people don't
on.
mess with Kanye
I
West.
like that. I like that. I like that one.
I know a lot of people don't mess with Kanye West, but he has this song called Bittersweet, and they say your attitude determines your latitude. Well,
Facts.
I'm high as a mug, fly as a mug.
Come
So
on.
like, and that's always been something that stuck with me. Like, you tell yourself who and what you are, and then the rest of the world responds to that.
Exactly. Exactly. And you do that by way of your attitude. You don't like it, you know what I'm saying? But kind of what I was tapping into today was like just, try not to speak from like when you notice that you upset, just chill for a minute, man. Pause long enough to allow for yourself to assess what you're going through. And for the lack of trying to sound like somebody in a psychology major, start remembering where a lot of that stuff started from, though.
Yeah, the root cause.
That's what
Like,
it took for me.
that's what it is. Like, you have to get to the root cause, the why. Like, and I've been noticing that a lot with myself. Like, a lot of people say, like, you're super reflective. Sometimes I just have to sit in silence, like, no response, no reaction, because initially that first emotion, it may not be the best, because you may feel attacked, you may feel whatever, when that wasn't even the intention, but that the other person or the other party doesn't know what's going on with you internally. And I feel like it's okay to feel those feelings, but we don't have to always react to them.
Exactly. I like how you said the other person might not even know how you interpreting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly speaking, even if they did mean it that way, it's on you if you're gonna take it in like that, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, shoot. My grandma used to say the devil meant it for bad, but God meant it for my good. I'm like, hold on. I'm starting to understand a lot of that stuff that they had to have faith just to even say. But I'm like, I promise you, I'm the man. I'm the affirmation of all of their prayers. Like the way that I'm actually living now, it's like this is stuff they were talking about and hoping on the other side they'll get to when I'm living it now. So it's like, man, I know it to be real.
Exactly.
Even
And
outside of the whole, organized religion conversation, like I know it to be real. Like I tell my mom all the time, like I don't necessarily have to go to church. I'm at church every day, meaning I walk in the spirit. Like the things that are becoming of me growing spiritually versus all this being controlled by the outward stimulation, or like you said, the surface level things, impulse, stuff like that. It's like until you can control your impulses, you ain't got no freedom.
you can
Like
say that again.
people be like, man, you always talking about discipline or you just controlling. I'm like, all right, if you can't control your impulses, you not in control anyway.
And I had to learn that too, because like, my personality, people like, you just want to control everything, and at the end of the day, I want to control nothing more than myself.
Come on,
because
man.
because if I can control myself, everything around me will align with me. It won't be chaotic. It won't be, drama or anything like that, because internally I have the stability and the peace. So, and the
Hmm.
control of self. So I control my will, I control how I respond. So a lot of people, it does require that discipline. It's a lot of self analyzation, self love, self awareness, all of that stuff within self first before anything.
It got to be. It got to be. And not to I always go to like sports analogies, but when I used to play basketball or any sport, I could tell when somebody didn't have control over their body. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it was easy to get them off balance and do whatever I want to them on the court or the field to the point of my benefit. Now, if you think about that from the standpoint of life, right? Um, a lot of us are off balance by way of the impulses that's being marketed to us because people understand how the human anatomy is, psychology is, and so they market stuff to us by way of that. And now it's like when I get paid on Friday or when I get some income, first thing I gotta do is I need to go get that new Wendy's sandwich. I need to go to Walmart and get that thing I seen the other day that I ain't had the money for. All the while you thinking that's what you wanted.
Right.
And it really went with you, man. You
You've been
don't need it, though.
programmed.
Come on. Don't even need it. But if this stuff wasn't true, people would not spend millions or billions of dollars on marketing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Companies, they spend so much money on this stuff because they understand that in order to get people to buy stuff, you have to understand how people think and function. And what you were saying is like, having control of yourself is understanding how I think and how I function and operating from that to the point each interaction I have with people is going to be intentional within the purpose of how we were meant to affect each other. Like we all influence each other, but a lot of us don't recognize it. And so now you're influencing people negatively and don't even realize it because you're operating from a negative standpoint. And to me, negative don't even have to be like you're just a negative person. It could be just the unseen,
Yeah.
not having a clear understanding, just like when you're developing a picture. You know what I'm saying? So, nothing too complicated, but
No. And I wanted to piggyback off what you said about our grandparents. Like, so epigenetically, those little sayings and stuff that they had, they were planting seeds for us to be exactly where we are, right? To heal the bloodline. I
beautiful.
always reflect on those sayings that my grandma, she still say them to this day. Like it's a million. So when I'm in a crunch or I feel like stuff got to go one way, but I can't find my way out of it, it's a
Right.
million ways to skin a cat. You know,
Man,
you don't have to
man.
do it a certain way. Pivot. Don't
Right,
reinvent the
right.
wheel. And I feel like now it's really important for us to instill that wisdom in the younger generations because right now they're only seeing, a certain way and they feel like that's the only way it has to be when the universe is vast, it's infinite. So everything that we have should be seen as vast and infinite as well because we are of the universe, we are of God. So,
Right. Yep. And I'm glad you brought that up because, like, a lot of us that we have to the next generation, like, we easily be like, why are they doing this? Because when our day, we didn't, and not noticing this an escalation of what we was doing.
exactly.
And when you look at the, like, really step back and look at the grander picture, like, there, let me pick a certain genre or something to what, like, maybe bring it home. Like, when it comes to music, right? We think there's only people doing music from the standpoint of the type of music that we don't like, right? Whereas there are people that still doing similar music to when we was coming up, but it's just like the furtherance of it. People have
Hmm.
expounded on it. And it's the same thing with human interaction. Like I've even learned to, like you said, go about creating environments for young people to cultivate themselves like somebody created environments for me. Um, and at the same time, I've learned to, if you really want somebody to listen or pay attention to what's gonna be becoming for them, acknowledge what they doing right,
Mm-hmm.
um, and focus on that. You know what I'm saying? And then watch and see how, that, just like a flower, it's gonna grow towards the sunlight because the sunlight is giving it life. It's giving it things that's gonna be beneficial towards its life force. So if we keep on, a lot of time we keep on pointing out the things that's wrong with them, like, and I always find myself in the conversations with other people, and I'm like, bruh, as sure as you can find these kids that's out here suffering adversely, like, you can look back at our generation, it was the same thing. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But it's all about what you want to focus on. Because even the ones that look like they suffering adversely, if they live long enough for you to see that full story, you be like, dang, they went through that early, but look at them now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look at them now. And the same thing with you was saying, like, you was saying something about self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
That self-reflection first started out of, man, I ain't got no friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm lonely. My phone
Facts.
don't ring. Then after a while, you like, hold on, this all right here. It's cool. It's quiet. What was that I was thinking about earlier today? I wonder what that'll go if I work through that problem. You know what I'm saying? And those are the things that I hang my hat on, to the point, like, even when I find myself in relationships, I'm like, there's obviously either an assignment that I'm on right now, or there's more for me to learn about myself. That's why I'm in this circumstance.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel
Like,
that too. So when I play basketball, one
you
thing
play basketball, oh Lord.
I did. I hooped from the time I was 7 to 22. I played at the collegiate level.
Okay. Do you? I wonder why you be having these jerseys on, but go
Oh,
ahead.
it's because I look good in them. Let's be honest.
Okay,
Um,
look. Look.
but no, so my coach, and he instilled this in me early. He used to say the game is 80% mental, right? So that's something that I carry with me to this day, and I teach that to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Life is mental.
It
Everything
is.
physical follows after that, right? So, like you were saying, how we just gotta focus on the good in them and things of that nature. Like, I have to constantly remind my son, because he's into sports and things like that,
Right.
that you're a product of who you decide to be. If you don't want to get up and go to practice, or I'm working out with you and you don't want to listen to what I'm saying,
Right.
that's going to reflect in your reality. But the only thing I want you to be is mentally strong. The physical stuff follows after, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so
facts.
it's like, the goal, I think, for me as a parent, because I feel like a lot of my reflecting comes from having kids, right? I try to put myself in their mindset, like, how was I thinking at their age, when they hit
Mm-hmm.
these different milestones. But I think the goal is, regardless of where I was then, now I'm an example of how you should live your life, and you don't have to wait until you're an adult. Like, you know, I'm reading
Right.
books. I'm encouraging them to read. I'm paying children to read. Like,
Right. Right.
you know what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying? Just trying to instill those values in them, because those little sayings and things like that, they stick with you and they follow you. And I always tell my kids, you may not understand it today, but I guarantee you, eventually you're going to say, dang, my mama used to always say, if you want to hide something
Hey.
from a person, put it in the book, or, just
Yep.
simple things.
That's what Nana used to tell my ass. It might not make sense now, but when it's time, it will. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Just little
Okay.
gems, little seeds they planted, you know?
Yep. And I'm grateful for it, I promise. Every day I'll be like, darn, this lady ain't never left me. Cause everything she said is playing out. It's playing out. And like you were saying with that 80% mental, like everything that we have shaped our reality to be, how we even perceive it, um, it's all about how we think. In the time when we were away from people, how we interact with folks, it's a reflection of how we interacted with ourselves while we was alone, or if we even spent any time alone.
Yeah.
Um, to the point it's like we can't even get mad at people being like, man, you this, you that. It's like, bro, spend more time with yourself. Like you said with the, if you're not practicing, basically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When it's time for the game, we gonna see who
Yeah, it's
practices,
gonna
who
show.
did.
It's gonna show how much work you put in.
When it's time to get out here and interact with folks, we gonna see who, they interact enough with themselves to be confident in their interactions with other people. Cause that's where that confidence is built at, through your experiences with yourself. That's true confidence anyway. If your confidence is based on validation, when you don't get it, it's gonna show. You're gonna crumble under that pressure. But when you know yourself through and through, it's like, all right, I see you might not understand where I'm coming from. It's okay. That's fine, But when you ain't spend enough time with yourself, even that you can overcome, because you'll be like, you know what? If that was me, like you said with the kids, if that was me, how could I have said that to make it hit home? Or if that was me, what would I do to deflect if I just don't want you to know that you're right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that happens too. Like, you say the right shit, but motherfuckers just don't want you to seem like you know what you're talking about. You see that too. And I've done that myself, at a young age, when people was trying to get me to stop from doing things that weren't in my best interest. I would go out of my way to distract or deflect. You know what I mean? Rather than being like, because, a lot of people would say, what about you though? Or what you got going on? It's like, just like that impulse stuff. If you base success based on what is tangible or what product somebody done told you represents status, you will always find a reason to excuse yourself from what information is being presented to you for your best interest.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one, because I remember in a previous relationship, I was told, you don't ever listen to anything that I say, but I'm saying the same thing that other people are saying to you. And I had to sit with that, and have to be like, well, was it the delivery why I didn't take it? Or, you know how you try to sit around and contemplate, well, no, if I say it was delivery, then I'm making an excuse. Maybe it wasn't the moment or the person that was supposed to deliver the message,
Sometimes it take repetition.
And sometimes it takes repetition. Sometimes seeing it over and over or hearing it over and over again builds it into your psyche. Like, dang, that makes sense now.
Something I'm learning is sometimes it feels like rejection coming from the person that you love. It's like, hold on, what you trying to, man, hold on. It's one thing everybody else saying it, but you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't want to hear that from them, you feel me? Like,
That makes sense.
It can be hurtful, and that's something I'm learning. I'm like, so what I also learned from, it's a guy that passed away a while back named Wayne Dyer. He used to say, and it goes into telepathy and stuff like that, but he was basically saying, like, if you sitting in a car with somebody, right, and it's something you want to tell them, first, like, focus wholeheartedly on that message within yourself. Like, go through the process of what you would say to them, how you want to say it to them, the desired outcome, etc. And then still pause long enough to see if this person don't draw that conclusion themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been a few times that shit done happened. Like, I done been telling the person, look, man, hey, you keep on eating such and such, this gonna happen. And they even done went as far as to buy them stuff, or, every time we about to eat, I'm like, hey, let's eat this instead. I'm like, nah. Then they turn around and go to work. And the next person over there like, hey, I'm finna bring you such and such tomorrow. And I don't want to hear you ain't gonna eat it, And they do it. It gets to a point you like, you know what? I gotta stop trying to seek self-validation that I was the one that told you that. Rather than just be glad that you got it, period. Because if that's your point, then you would be cool with that. But if your point is to get that that credit yourself, man, life got a way of making sure you don't get credit for it. You know what I'm talking about? Because it ain't about that.
It's not. And I'm at a place in my journey where I'm faced with, I think I've actually been here for a while, and I'm just reading a book right now about it called Let Them Theory, where it's like when I first started my journey, I wanted to share all the information that I was getting with everybody else. Like, come on, y'all, we gotta go. We gotta get right. Like, because if it's two or three of us together, we could do it big. And then I had to realize, like, it's not their time. And elevation truly does require separation, because their frequency or their level or speed of getting to where you are may not be the same. So you got to let people do what they want to do and respectfully do what you're going to do with or without them. Like,
yep. Because I used to have a lot of friends that used to be like, everybody ain't going to make it. And I used to be like, hold on. You know what? I get what you're saying, but the best way I could put it is everybody is conscious of their own things. You feel me? Like, everybody got their specialties, their purpose. So as much as I might feel like I'm elevating over here, them motherfuckers elevating over there on some other stuff that I'm not even thinking about yet. You feel me? But if I leave room for all of us to grow, I can get to where they going, and I might not discourage them so much to the point that they don't see where I'm going, and eventually they might, influence a lot of times takes place without you even knowing.
Yeah.
But we looking for that, that outcome, desired outcome, so we can see, hey, they got it. They got it. The fact that the sun is shining, the sun don't need us to say, hey, we feel that. Like, no. It's present. Guess what? The experience is being had regardless.
Yeah.
You exist, therefore, guess what? They experiencing it. So it is what it is.
There's a lot of beauty in knowing that, though.
Yeah, it take pressure off.
Yeah.
It get rid of that savior complex to the point you feel like I gotta sacrifice myself. I gotta stop what I'm doing to make sure everybody else getting this.
Exactly.
And so, like, I try to say as much as possible when I'm doing these platforms or I'm on this so-called platform. I say, hey, I'm just working out my problems in front of the world. So I just feel like, hey, the way they work out their problems ain't as bad, and it's not for nothing.
Right.
So those who do understand, it's just another part of me, just being reflected in a different body.
Exactly. That's really literally all it is. We're mirrors, right?
Yep.
And we're only going to be able to see what we're willing to see, right? Sometimes the mirror might be a little fogged up because the smoke around it. Are you ready to wipe it off and see what's behind it?
Might be rushing. I be trying to look at the mirror.
I was just gonna say that I went through a phase where I thought I was looking in the mirror, but I wasn't looking in the mirror. I wasn't taking the time to say, like, hey, you, talking to myself in the mirror. It was just like, throw myself together and move on, in a rush. That's why I'm really slow paced now, That's why I like slow mornings, and I get up and I talk to myself in the mirror. I look myself in the eyes, different things like that, because I feel like that helps reassure you of who you're presenting to the world, who you really are.
You gotta spend that time with yourself. You gotta do it. I mean, I don't like saying you got to no more, but
you can choose to, though.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it's your choice. It's all a decision.
Yep. It'll be in your best interest. It'll allow for you to be grateful. A lot of us do not spend enough time with self in order to be grateful for anything. And wonder why we're not grateful for nothing, because it's like, I don't even have enough time to actually sit there and think about being grateful. You know what I'm saying? I had a person tell me, That's too much thinking. I'm like, I get it.
Thinking
I
can
get
be
it.
scary. I get it.
Shit, I get it. But if you ain't thinking, who doing the thinking for you?
Exactly.
Why you think you free? You're not. Freedom, true freedom, is self-expression. But if you're not taking the time to think for yourself, who are you expressing?
Right.
What are you expressing? And honestly speaking, like you said, I also had to learn with my past marriage. Like sometimes you have to look at people. Old folks used to tell us this though. Look at people's parents or where they come from, but not to pass judgment. This is something they didn't tell me necessarily, but not to pass judgment, but to be able to appreciate people's growth.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if they parents was in the streets and just wilding, but now here it is, they not in the streets, they a little more conservative, they not doing things to hurt other people, just appreciate that. You know what I mean? That might not be the plateau you want to limit yourself at, but for them, that's a journey. That's a daily battle, because what they used to is not that.
Yeah.
Just so happened what we used to is things that we still drawing on today, the spiritual things, you know what I'm saying, that we heard from our grandparents, and some people, believe it or not, don't even have it. So the fact that we can learn from our kids, learn from our parents, learn from our grandparents, like you talking about multiple lifetimes and so many realms of existence within all of these different facets of people that we're drawing information from that some people haven't even begun to unpack at all.
Right.
To the point, it's like I always, again, it's certain. I tell people the truth is the truth, no matter where you put it, whatever book is in, right? But it's certain things you can draw from. So I used to always hear this line where it say, "Forgive them; they know not what they do." And it used to mess me up. At first, I'm like, "Dang, man, you just sound crazy." But it's like when you really think people do not know what they doing, it's like you gotta let that go. You holding on to that, being mad at somebody because you think they actually knew what they were doing. Out of the while, they don't know what the hell they doing.
Yeah.
And now here it is, you holding on to that, and it becomes depression.
Yeah.
You got to keep reminding yourself, even when you want to be happy, you see such and such, be like, I'm mad though, because I ain't never forgot what they, get your ass in the house. Like the coach used to tell us, if you ain't ready to play, don't get on my floor. Don't
even come in the gym.
You hear me? A lot of us ain't ready to play, man.
Yeah.
Our mind ain't in the game. The game of life. Some shit too heavy, man.
It is.
You just gotta give it. You gotta give it to the creator, or you gotta give it to your higher self that you ain't. I used to pray and hear myself. You'd be like, hold on.
Why that sound like me?
What the fuck? Hold on. Sound like the greatest version of me. Hold up. But that's a little much for some people to even, you know what I'm saying?
Grasp the concept of that, yeah, for sure.
Do you even pray?
Because what voice do you hear when you do? Like you know, the scary thing, some people hear nothing. No.
Man. And at that point, and again, y'all, this is for entertainment purposes only. Meaning, don't take none of this personal. This is just things, us laughing at ourselves. Because can't remember a time that none of this shit made sense. None of it. But through, the willingness to be grateful is granting them to say, have faith in greater things. Now I can see way further than I did. I can understand concepts that seem a forest. Like, what word is you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can also be able to be patient with people that, as my granny and them would say, babes. I'm like, you too old to be. Nah, you know what? Cause I can think of some stuff right now that I'm still working on that I be having to tell myself, hey, stop being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Cause that's not gonna help you to accomplish what you're trying to do. You're gonna constantly keep beating yourself up, and you're gonna get better at beating yourself up to the point you're not gonna do anything. And I realize that's where a lot of people are. They are at that point of beating themselves up. Something about maintenance. I don't even know how to do no damn maintenance.
Yeah. We shouldn't beat ourselves up or shame ourselves to a point to where we become content with being stagnant. You know? I'm a person where I don't like being content. I don't. If I'm somewhere too long in a place too long, where I'm uncomfortable because I need more. I need to do more. I need to be better. And people normally say, people like me, well, you always moving the goalposts. That doesn't mean that I don't know what success is. I've seen it from many different vantage points.
Man. And it don't mean I can't appreciate a pause either.
Right.
I might have been doing something for 2 years straight, and all of a sudden I can't do it no more. Hey, I appreciate that time, appreciate what I learned from it. Just like we talking about playing sports, I take and apply all of the things I learned from that and what I learned about myself and apply it in whatever atmosphere I put myself in. I know I can overcome being on the bench. I know I can outwork the next person. Cause I'm a practice even when we ain't got practice. I'm a envision what I'm gonna do on the court. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even, man, that red on that bird is radiant in the mind. But a lot of people don't even know how to envision what they want out of life. So, it's one of those things. Just learn to be patient with yourself and everybody else. But the beauty is we still got things to work on.
Oh yeah, the work never stops. I always tell people when they be like, "Oh, you think you healed now?" No, it's ing. I'm healing. This is an ongoing process. Like,
that's the fun part.
Stop. Yeah, it don't.
Imagine waking up and you got everything figured out. This shit'll be boring in a minute. Like, you really think about what that would look like.
Man, what is us gonna do?
Right. What is there to do? Nothing? Wait to die?
Just sitting around, counting the leaves on the tree.
Wait to die. I ain't gonna lie. One of the things that's interesting to me right now is like understanding lifetimes and connecting those dots. Like one of my favorite movies was Cloud Atlas.
I've never seen that one.
Man, it's a movie with Tom Hanks and Halle Berry, but it's about different lifetimes and like it showed birthmarks and like people having similar birthmarks and almost like they came back multiple times type shit. I'm like, hold up.
I'm familiar with that a little bit. And that's crazy because I feel like I'm talking to you telepathically, because when I first turned this live on, I was sitting thinking about this past life reading that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying to make sense of it. Like, so basically in every lifetime that I had, I was an artist of some sort. I was a writer. I
Right.
was a musician, which makes sense because in this lifetime, I love to write. I love music, those things. So it kind of add up. But when the lady told me, like, you were a man in every single lifetime, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
How does that add up? And then I'm like, okay, well, I could see, like, why in this life I would incarnate as a woman. Maybe those men were, you know, chauvinist, or maybe, I don't know. I can't really say who or what I was, but I can say that I could see why in this lifetime I would come in as a woman, that's really fighting to get and stay in her feminine energy, because my my zodiac sign, people always say, like, oh, Capricorns, or they real control, and they have like a masculine energy, but a Capricorn is really a feminine energy, right? But
Mm.
we're rough and tough. We like to get out, we like to be in the sports. Like, I was outside playing Killer Man with the boys. I was on the basketball court. I was doing all of those things. Like, people would say, oh, you're a tomboy. Yeah, I definitely was, because that was the energy I was in. I was a protector. I'm the oldest child. So now, when it comes to talking about like the past life regression, it's like, okay, well, is this the lifetime where everything comes full circle and that polarity becomes clear? Who's there? Is this the time where everything comes into balance for me? Is this the last rodeo? So I'm all about, like, understanding past lives and how they influence the present.
What, you finish?
Huh?
You said kinda. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it do make sense though that we came up on this conversation. And I can understand kind of why you would be a woman this lifetime too, given the dynamic. How the world has kind of changed as far as artistic expression is, and especially being a black woman in today's time. I would think the most powerful expression of art would be exemplified by a black woman. The ability to feel and pull from different avenues, um, and to be a walking depiction of art and beauty as well. Second. I got this. You can continue talking, but I just had a text coming through.
And I landed my plane. Let's see. I'm trying to see if the reader, she's not on.
Hey, I'm gonna connect with you shortly. I gotta take this call, okay?
Okay.
All right, peace.
Peace.